Prime Minister, kia ora, welcome to the UAE. Thanks for joining us here on CNBC.
Well, look, it's great to be with you. Appreciate you making time for us.
Prime Minister, we meet here in the UAE as New Zealand has just signed this comprehensive economic partnership agreement. Talk to me about why the Middle East is so important for New Zealand's trade and economic partnership.
Yeah, look, it's a key region of the world. It's been growing incredibly strongly. But there's also, it's our most trusted partner, the UAE. We've had a long-standing relationship, over 40 years of diplomatic recognition. And really the chance now for us is to continue to deepen and to broaden the economic relationship. And so that's why the signing of the CEPA and also the bilateral investment treaty was really important, because actually these are two small advanced economies in the world that actually have a lot in common and a lot of common values. And we want to be able to work together and build out that relationship in a much deeper way. So, no, it's pretty exciting to be here today.
Kiwis back at home probably thinking, what's in this for me? So what's the economic translation back at home?
Yeah, look, 1 in 4 of our jobs in New Zealand are tied very much to trade. When you see a New Zealand company that's exporting out to the world, it's able to pay its workers 7% higher salaries and wages, and they're often our more productive companies. And so, you know, the message very clearly back home to the people at home is that they understand that we are a trading nation. We don't get rich just selling stuff to each other in the South Pacific or within New Zealand. We actually need to send our great products and services out into the world, of which there's huge demand for, and make sure we open up new markets like the Middle East to actually get those products too. In doing that, we bring more money back at home, and that obviously is the way in which we can afford better public services like health and education. So, you know, New Zealanders, I think, understand, yes, we want to be out there trading in the world. There's a huge opportunity for us, and there's huge demand for our products and services.
Pretty challenging economic situation at home right now. New Zealand has seen 3 years almost of flat to negative growth, in recession in Q3. So can you actually quantify the economic impact of this CEPA on New Zealand?
Yeah, look, I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's been a very challenging time for New Zealand the last 3 years, but we've made some good progress in the first year of our new government. We've got inflation under control. We've got interest rates coming down. We've got business confidence at a 10-year high. We've got consumer confidence at a 3-year high. We've got farmer confidence, the highest it's been since 2017. So, you know, we know we've got the conditions that people are believing there's a better future. Now we need to make sure that we convert, having broken the back of the cost of living crisis, now we've got to convert and really drive into growth. And that's where these stronger international trading connections are, but also encouraging inbound investment to New Zealand as well. And of course, with the large sovereign wealth funds that are here in the Middle East that actually have real capability and skills around renewable energy, core infrastructure, those are things that are of interest to us too.
Indeed, we're here in Abu Dhabi. This is the capital of capital. There's more sovereign wealth fund in this city and in this country than anywhere else on earth. So how do you leverage that for the benefit of all New Zealanders and to actually attract foreign direct investment from the UAE into New Zealand?
Yeah, look, historically New Zealand probably hasn't done as good a job as we could have in terms of attracting foreign pools of capital to invest in New Zealand. And as we look out into the future, we've got a massive infrastructure pipeline to work our way through. There's a lot of science, technology, innovation that we need to partner with local firms in New Zealand, with international firms, in order to create that economic growth that we need. And so we have a government now that's very, very open for both using domestic and international pools of capital to get infrastructure built in a much quicker way, often through public-private partnerships, and working together in that way. And so a lot of my conversations with the sovereign wealth funds here in Abu Dhabi today have been exactly that. Where are the areas of common interest and capability and complementarity that actually could work very well? And so when you think about renewable energy, New Zealand's a country that already has 88% of our energy source really is renewable already. We want to double that over the next few years. And so there's lots of opportunities to do that in partnership with capital from Abu Dhabi and expertise as well. Likewise, on core infrastructure, we have roads, we have schools, we have hospitals that we need to get built. And the sooner we can do it in partnership, that means we can pull that investment forward and get the economic and the social benefits faster.
Are you sensing that there is an appetite to invest in New Zealand right now? It's a pretty complex global economic environment right now, a very complex trading environment as well, as we see the Trump administration returning stateside. What type of economic repercussions do you see as a result, particularly as it relates to trade?
Yeah, look, I mean, the first thing I'd say is that there is a huge appetite for investing in New Zealand. There are still huge sovereign wealth funds, huge pension funds that are looking for places to invest to get good return for their investors. And so there's a real appetite and curiosity about investing in New Zealand. You have a government now that is very welcoming of that capital coming into New Zealand. And what we need to do is actually do the discussions that we've been having today, which is find the areas of where potential opportunity could exist. With respect to the change in the US, I mean, we're going to work well with whichever administration the American people will select, and they've selected Donald Trump and the Republican administration, and I've got every confidence we'll work very constructively with them. We'll have to wait and see as to what is the tariff policy in terms of how it actually does get played out or what gets played out. But irrespectively, New Zealand is a country that has built itself into being a really agile trading nation in the world. We have not relied on tariffs and subsidies in our own market for many decades. We're often some of the best exporters and best agriculturalists in the world, and we believe in the international rules-based system. We've been quite big catalysts on CPTPP when you think about how the origins of that came together with Singapore and New Zealand. Again, other small advanced economies working together, like-minded countries that believe in the rules-based system and believe in free trade and freedom of navigation and all of those good values. So, we'll continue to advocate very strongly for that.
Trump is all about trade, but on America's terms. So what's your strategy to navigate Trump? Every head of state has one.
Yeah, look, I mean, we'll see what happens when the administration takes shape in another couple of weeks. But, I mean, the key thing is that, New Zealand and America's trading relationship is very strong. It's been growing very strongly, even in the absence of not having a free trade agreement, like, say, how Australia does or other countries do. So I've got every confidence that in a large market that there is a real opportunity for the US and New Zealand to continue to do trade together well and to partner well in general.
Are you prepared to stand up to Trump if he pushes an agenda that compromises the interests of Kiwis?
All I just say to you is my job as Prime Minister of New Zealand is to act in New Zealand's national interests, and that's the same for every leader of every country around the world. And my job is to make sure that New Zealand is a safer, more secure place, but also that we're advancing economically. And I think you've started to see in our region, in the Indo-Pacific in particular, that you can't have economic prosperity without stability and security, and vice versa. And so it's important that that's why we've been hitting it hard in the first 12 months of my new government to make sure that we're building those relationships and we're advancing and deepening those relationships all across the world.
It's also been suggested that deals like the one you have just signed here in the UAE are a hedge against China in the Indo-Pacific. Is that a fair description?
No, well, I mean, we have a very important long-standing relationship with China as well. I mean, it's over 50 years long. We have huge areas where we collaborate incredibly effectively around trade, around people-to-people connections, renewable energy again. We obviously have differences, as we do with many of our relationships, and we have a way in which we disagree over those. We raise those differences where we must, and we do so in a very predictable, very consistent way, either publicly or privately. And so, I think we have a very clear frame to say, no, there's still opportunity for New Zealand and China, but equally, we're sitting in the Indo-Pacific region, the most dynamic part of the world, and there is huge opportunities to expand and deepen our trade in Southeast Asia and India, and obviously here in the Middle East. So for us, everything's about and, because we're a small country. Our success is dependent upon how well we trade, and we want to do business with as many people as possible.
Prime Minister, it's the start of the year. As you assess the rest of the year over the next 11, 12 months, what would you say is the biggest risk to the outlook? We've spoken a bit about the trade policy. We've spoken about the change of administration in the United States. Is there anything else that keeps you awake at night?
Yeah, look, I mean, we've clearly got a number of, very difficult, intractable global conflicts. And there's no doubt about it. As I said before, when you have conflict, it creates economic insecurity for people as well. We've seen that in our own region. North Korea providing munitions to Russia to support a war in the Ukraine that then has an impact on grain and rice prices in Southeast Asia, as well as energy prices in Western Europe. We want to see those conflicts resolved, because ultimately they cause huge amounts of unfathomable human suffering and catastrophe, but actually also it's not good for people's prosperity ultimately. So it's a tough time, but we've got to make sure that we make progress, particularly on those big conflicts in the course of this year.
Prime Minister, I appreciate your time. Thanks for speaking with me
Great to be with
today.
you.